Hello, I hope you're doing well. I'm going to try to make this quick because I don't have much memory card space. When we're starting, this is, by the way, something that I struggle with and need help with constantly, so don't feel like you're alone in this. But when we start things, we need to start them small. And we have to get in the streets to smell like sheep first, which I'll unpack in a minute, so that God's glory goes to Him only. You get in the streets, you feed the hungry and the poor, you give them love, and you show them the character of Christ. You be God's hands and feet. You're going to smell like sheep. If you're going out to find the lost and the hurt and the brokenhearted, you're going to sit with them, and you're going to love on them, and you're going to smell like them. And that's not going to be something that's Versace cologne most of the time. Again, that idea didn't come from me, so don't act like I came up with it. But we need to start in the streets to smell like sheep. You need to start what we think is small so that we can have an idea of the gravity of the situation. And when you do this first instead of second, what you're doing and yourself will go forth and grow for God's glory. Giving you a little perspective, if you're starting a business or a podcast or a clothing brand or whatever, and you go into the streets because of the business, that's not God's glory, that's your glory. You want the business to get the glory. You want the business to be seen helping the people. But when you flip it and you help the people first, so that God's glory can be shown, what you're doing will grow for God's glory. Because the glory can't be misplaced. When you start in the streets, what God will do will be so ginormous that only His glory can be shown. People will look at your situation or your upcoming business and say there's no way that could be anybody but God. And that's the point. I struggle with this all the time. I want to start something just to show them through the thing. But it's like, no, start the thing after you've gone through smelling like sheep. Anyway, when you start in the streets and smell like sheep first, there's a glory gap. That means that the thing that you're trying to do and the outcome, where you are and where you want to be or where God wants you to be, is so vast that only God could show up and make that happen. And again, His glory will be outshined through that. But when we do it the other way, the glory collapse, it doesn't work that way. We're trying to raise ourselves up to be so high that there's not that big of a gap between what we want and what happens. And there's no room for God's glory in that because we take it all. And we can't do that. That's in the book of Judges. Gideon is told by God to strip the army from 32,000 to 300. Because if there was 32,000, they could take the glory instead of God. Now here's the nice part. When you allow there to be a glory gap, it can only lead to the God grasp. When you allow there to be a gap between you, where you are currently, and where God wants you to be, it leads to God's grasp. So if the only way that we could get from here to there is God, because it's for His glory, then the only person that can get us from here to there is God. And He's going to be in it because you left room for the glory gap. You said, I'm going to start on the streets and smell like sheep. And that's big within itself, but I'm going to start on the streets and smell like sheep so that you show up and do a work. And then when He shows up and does a work, ain't nobody denying who it was. Leave room for glory and don't misplace it. Okay, that's all I had. It was about a 5-minute video. felt like I had to get it off my heart. Hope that helps.